Hey, you guys, welcome again to another episode of Becoming a Model with Binky. Hey, and this is a special episode because I have my bestie on this with me. Hey. And this is our episode of Industry Talks. So, like you guys know, Sean is a creative director and a photographer. So if you haven't already, make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, make sure that you go ahead and smash the like buttons on all them videos, and also put your notification bells on so you guys can be informed whenever I drop a new video. And join the Patreon. Y'all, there is a complete fashion magazine list. And trust me, Sean submits to those magazines, boo. So if you're a single model and you need to go ahead and be on submissions, you need to get that list. Join for as low as $5. You do not want to be left out. Okay. So let's get it started. So, Sean.
Oh my God, don't stop.
So please explain to everybody that's watching who you are, the what, who, when, where, whys, how'd you become who you are?
But my name is Sean. My brand is Morant Sean LLC. And I just recently launched another brand called M3 Productions, which specializes in event planning, photography, and creative directing, and video directing too. Started my business probably about 10 years ago, finally got it patented last year. So it's finally official. So I'm always looking for interns, volunteers. I'm about to start putting the team together soon, so I'm be putting information out for that too. But other than that, started my education in New York, LIM College, fashion merchandising degree. Worked for Notion Fashion Week for 4 years, and I think you might get into some of that stuff a little bit later. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I don't do too much.
Okay, so just to give y'all, he's trying to simmer down his responses right now because he's done so many of the things in life. So we're gonna just dig a little bit on a little bit of those topics and give y'all a chance to ask him some questions even later on if any of y'all have any questions. So let's get it started. So first question first, what is a creative director in the fashion industry? There's a lot of people who don't really know what that job profession is, what it entails, and it usually gets swashed whenever it comes into discussion of teams. So please explain that.
So I mean, people have different variations of what they think a creative director is. My personal opinion of a creative director is the person who pretty much puts all the creative aspects together in any given project, whether it's a fashion show, whether it's a photo shoot, events, whole 9 yards. So the person who gets together styling, the hair, the makeup, like even if they're the ones that delegate the team, they're the ones who manage the creative aspect of the final outcome of the project. So that's kind of where I started my whole career.
Okay. All right. And have you ever worked with any fashion industry professionals before?
I mean, yeah, I've worked with Tarina Tarantino, who's a jewelry designer. I worked for Notion Fashion Week, where I was the assistant to the president of the company. So working with them, I've met Chris Brown, Pharrell, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Jill Scott, Drake, Lady Gaga, Miguel, Janelle Monáe, Neo, a whole bunch of people. So yeah, so I mean, I've worked with plenty, like hundreds of designers, people in PR, the whole nine. I've worked with quite a few people.
Okay,
I don't like to talk about myself too much.
So you have a very extensive resume, basically. So what's the most enjoyable thing about creative directing?
For me, the most enjoyable thing is probably just doing what you want to do and not really. Can I curse on here?
You already heard me curse earlier. So
I
this is a free brain roamed podcast. I want people to be themselves.
Right. Well, wait, what was the question again?
I knew it was coming.
Don't judge me. Do not judge me.
What's the most enjoyable thing about creative directing?
Being able to do what I want and not really giving a fuck who says what or who thinks about what. For me, I kind of do what I want to do. because I like to do it. I know and I've realized that what I do isn't for everybody, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Somebody somewhere out in the world is gonna like what you're doing. So as long as you stay true to your brand and your craft and what you like to do, somebody's gonna appreciate it. It may not be Baltimore, it may not be my neighbors, it may not be my family, but somebody somewhere is gonna recognize, your talent and, you know, give you the recognition that you need. So for me, just being able to put the concept together, seeing it come to life, especially when I do concepts that uh, are kind of outlandish. People wouldn't normally think that you can really put it together, and I kind of do it, and then I do it on top of that very uh, frugally. I don't know if that's the word, but I know how to put some really nice stuff together with little to no money.
We
So
we gonna
yeah,
go ahead and just make it a word today.
frugally, yeah,
Frugally, yes.
frugally,
Okay.
yeah.
So, do you do a lot of CD work while you're doing your photo shoots, and how often do the roles basically cross paths?
Well, for me, I've always been a creative director before anything, so
Mhm.
it's always going to kind of tap in whenever it wants to tap in. I remember going to a Rari event and that was the date of a model. So one of the photographers trying to work with her and I instantly like just hopped on set and telling her how to pose, where to place her hands at, where to look, all that good stuff. So um yeah, they tend to always cross paths, especially when you're the one producing like photo shoots,
Mhm.
because you're the one that's in charge of making sure that final outcome, is translated. So, and I think that it really enhances the final products too, because when you kind of know what the shot should look like and supposed to look like, you know what needs to be done to make sure that it actually happens. So, yeah, creative directing and pretty much everything I do will put my hands in the kind of place aspect in it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good. So, what's one key advice you would give a new model when working with a creative director or photographer?
New model
And
working with a
I'm a
creative.
model, so I could take the heat, but we just want to educate the new models that's coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, first things first, because I work with a lot of new models, and I actually pride myself with working with new models, people who never thought they would be able to model before, and like making some really good shots. So, as far as working with new models, I guess my first thing is don't talk too much.
Hmm.
Primarily because as a model, you are a mannequin, and you pretty much are doing what the creative team told you to do with limitations. Like, of course, don't compromise yourself, don't compromise your safety, or anything like that. But being prepared, not having too much talk back or say so, like, oh, well, I want my hair done like this, or I want my eyebrows to look like that. It doesn't, it causes a conflict before we even get to the
See, that's
shooting
the
process.
biggest issue, and that's
Yeah.
also like the thing that I always tell models whenever I'm out on set, especially when I
Hmm.
lived in Baltimore, and you would see me do that a lot. We've always had situations when it comes to models wanting to have their own identity, and it's okay to have your own identity, but
Yeah.
mindful that you are there for a job, and it's everybody's
And
creative idea and imagination that you're bringing to life. So it may not be something that you see for it yet,
and
but
again, the question was new models, so I want to reemphasize that because um, it's okay to have your signature or your brand or your
yeah,
aesthetic or your trademark, but you have to work towards that. You can't really come off the rip because
yeah.
you're gonna have clients who want to have you do millions of different types of things. Not saying everybody should jump right into new modeling and make OnlyFans. I'm not saying that at all, but um, you have to keep yourself open because that's how you get the gig. And
Yeah.
without the gig, you don't get the money. So that's my main thing. So being prepared, being on time, and not having too much say so and talk back and kind of just making sure you get the job done.
Yeah. And
Those are
that's
my three
really
main
good
things.
advice. I would agree with that because I learned
Mhm.
that throughout the years with all the people I worked with. And that's
Absolutely.
very important, especially if you're doing TF and paid work.
Right.
You got
I'm
to
still
keep the
listening to you. I'm
same
just trying to
energy.
log out of my 9 to 5.
Oh, it's okay. Um, you have to be able to keep that same energy and professionalism, whether it
Hmm.
be for free work or paid work. And as a new model,
Absolutely.
please be aware that when you're starting out, you're not going to get paid right off the jump.
You're
Um,
not going to get paid.
and
You're
when
not
you're
going to get
running
paid.
and when you're working for a fashion show, no, most times you don't get paid. It's hit and miss. And then two, you still have to carry every job like basically that, a job, a profession. So
Hmm.
don't sit there and ruin your name before you even made yourself through the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So just be mindful, be cool, be chill, be laid back, and be able to work your hardest and put all your heart into it. So I agree with you.
And and one other thing I want to add to it as well, is that people have to keep in mind also that you have to actually practice and train to be a model. It's not something that you can just do because you're cute. Like it's a lot of technique that goes in the model, a lot of muscle memory. It's the smallest details that'll really make a shot or make a final product. So when I have those clients who think that just because they have a few thousand followers on social media that they can just do whatever they want, and I'm going to be that guy to tell you get offset because, like I said, I know what I want the shop to look like. If you're not executing that because you're kind of basing everything solely on this and not on the full
Hmm.
package, it doesn't really work out for me. So
Yeah, completely agree. Okay, so what is one crazy story um that has happened to you in your career as a CD or a photographer? And CD is short for creative director, you guys.
mhm.
So just be mindful. The more videos I do, the more fashion terms I'll be talking about. And when I make my book, you guys will have those terms as well. So just learn and keep up, you guys.
Mhm. So I'm trying to think of something to say without pointing anybody out
I'm gonna say
because the
don't
story
go
that
ahead and put people out on
yeah
blast.
um so it's crazy as an embarrassing or funny or like what kind of crazy story? Just to give me a little clarity because I'm trying to.
Crazy as in embarrassing and funny, or either or, whichever one you feel more comfortable with sharing that you don't feel will be offensive or make somebody cry.
Okay, so I have this is actually kind of revolting, so I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but I had one shoot and I had everybody like they all arrived maybe like 5-10 minutes early. I don't even
Mhm.
think I told you about this, and I was on the toilet using the bathroom. And
All
so I
right, so
had to
keep
like
it
kind
going.
of get myself together so I could go open up the door. And then I came back in, so I had Chipotle the night before. I came back in and like I had them probably waiting, sitting there doing nothing, no music, no nothing for like 30, 45 minutes while I used the bathroom.
Sean.
I tried to turn my phone over, but it wasn't loud enough. Oh, that's disgusting.
You're trifling. I swear to God.
I mean, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Oh, God, you're so trifling. You get on my nerves. So, you
Oh, that's
guys, this
funny.
is how me and him really are. That's come I wanted to do this first episode, right?
Every day.
Like every we talk literally about 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah, it's foolproof. It never fails. Never
This
fails.
is literally how we
This
are.
is just the
So
clean version, actually.
this is. Whoo, child. Those that know us, if you're around us, oh, they know. This is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nice professional way, you guys.
I'm surprised those people aren't on here commenting and everything, but I digress. I'll get them later on.
Good. Um, what is the biggest difference from working in the industry in New York versus the DMV? I know
First and
I have
foremost,
my personal differences as a model, but
mhm.
I want to know yours.
Well, first and foremost, the dedication and commitment of the people in New York supersedes anything I've ever seen in Baltimore. Like the people in New York, they want to work, they're hungry for it. They know like the legwork that needs to be done in order to get where they want to be. People in Baltimore, and I love my city, but it's a sense of entitlement. It's a sense of not wanting to work or put in the work to get where you want to be. It's like, you had these models and first photo shoot they shot them $250. No experience, no nothing. I'm like, you can't really, brand stuff like that. But people in New York, like they're willing to put in their work. They do free shows, free photo shoots, free marketing gigs, all that good stuff just to get their name out there. And that's why people who come from New York are more successful overall than, come to Baltimore. And also people in New York, uh, they support each other as a city. So people from Baltimore, it's always a competition, even when it doesn't need to be. Some people create competition for themselves. Some people create it for them. And I've always kind of placed myself where I don't have any competition that's not as arrogant. It's just like I said before, I do what I want to do, and I'm not looking at what the next person's doing. I'm not saying who's running what special, what concept this person is doing. If I like it, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it the way that I want to do it. I'm gonna try to make it great as possible. But yeah, that's those are like the two main things. But what was yours that you had in mind?
Um, Basically just the atmosphere for like models. It's it's way way more cutthroat in New York
Oh
than
yeah,
the
oh yeah,
DMV. When I'm telling y'all models like about professionalism, it's not just about, oh, just being
oh
professional,
yeah.
just
It's
off rip.
no.
No, I'm telling you because in the fashion industry for models itself,
Mhm. No, I'm
we are
agreeing
a
with you.
very,
Yeah.
very important product of the fashion industry, but
Mhm.
there is so many of us that we can easily we're like the pawns. You could be kicked out the off the chessboard and replaced by somebody else. And you have to establish yourself as professional as possible and a team player as possible. That's not saying like, somebody trying to tell you like some scammy stuff or like get naked in order to be part of this production. No, not
Right.
that. But just saying that you want to be a team player as best as possible, understand the industry, understand business, and understand your role as a model. That way you can work and continue to
Mhm.
work.
Right.
Um, because it's very cutthroat. Like, especially if you're going for a fashion and runway model, bitch. Let me
Yeah,
tell
and
you.
that's another thing. Like the fashion industry in Baltimore is so small, so the competition is high in Baltimore, but New York is on a
It's
completely
it's
different
different.
level. It's
It's
completely different.
it's different. You're not worried as far as like competition wise in New York, you're not even worried so far as the competition. You're worried as more so are you good enough and how can you better yourself so you can get that
Right.
position. You're so focused on that and how to maintain that you're not focused on who the other person is that's also trying to come in there. Like
Mhm.
even like on the acting world where I'm at right now, there's a whole lot of
Right now.
casting directors. Yeah. There's a whole lot of casting directors down here that will easily say New York and LA have the best actors. And that's just upfront. And it's because
Well,
of
they
their
put in the work.
training, their work capabilities, hard work, everything, their passion into it is different from people in the South who are into it but not into it in the same grooming like New York and LA. And it's the same for modeling. So
And it goes back to, I don't mean to cut you off, but it goes back to what I said about people in New York willing to put in the work and not
mhm.
really looking for a financial benefit from it.
Or
So I can
handout.
speak for myself. Yeah. Well, not even, I'm not even gonna say that because I give handouts and I know people have seen me post different things about looking for models to try to do different photo shoots. I always tell people you don't need experience
But
to say
you
I'm
do
going to
it in
show
a
you what
different
to
kind
do.
of light. I'm saying in the way
Yeah,
that people are
but
looking for it. Like new
hear
off,
me out.
don't know nothing, and they just like, I'm good enough. I just need this handout. No, that's not how I work.
Understandable, but on top of that, people in Baltimore they have opportunities, but they don't always take advantage of them because that first thing is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing a shoot for free. I'm not doing hair for free. I'm
Yep.
not doing makeup for free. You really never know who knows who, and I'm not saying every single last gig that you need to do needs to be free. Not saying
Mm-hmm.
that because you got to make your money, bills got to get paid, and experience got to do it. But at the same time, you got to put in that legwork. Like I've done hundreds of shoots for free, hundreds of fashion shows for free before I even was able to do the things on my own. Like I worked for Baltimore's Best Events before I even started working for Social Security and branching off with M3 Productions. So I was doing events every weekend. I put in the work and I was getting paid $10 an hour. Nothing. Like it really, especially coming out of college with a degree, I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't paid, what I deserved to be paid. But that was my first job in my field out of college. So why not take everything I could take from it while I could take it
Mm-hmm.
from it? And then when I go, I I don't have to take any of that stuff physically with me. I have the mental. I can really do the stuff on my own now.
Yeah,
So it's really about taking advantage of the resources that you have around you because a lot of people don't.
yeah.
But New
I
Yorkers,
think
they
that's
definitely do.
our biggest fail for some people is literally just not utilizing our resources to the best of our capabilities. So
Right.
yeah. So another question. What is M3 Productions?
Hmm.
Your company.
M
Tell us about it.
M3. M3 Productions is a business that actually sprouted from uh, M3 Management. So I had Morant Model Management. It was a modeling agency, and we were a part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't last how I thought it was going to. So I love the name, and I kind of kept it. I kept the M3 because I made the logo, love the logo, all that good stuff. Um, so then when I decided to go into production, such as photography, event production, video direction, creative direction, prop production, set production, all type of stuff, I decided to go with M3 Productions and take away Morant Model Management as the acronym and replace it with the three company values, which is create, innovate, and visualize. So that's what the three, and M3, the M stands for Morant. So
Very
that's
creative.
what we did.
Very creative. So now we're gonna go ahead and we got the little, personal things out the way. There's so many other things we can talk about, but you guys, strict for time, right? Look, can't spend 2 hours on here. But let's talk about the fashion world and this topics of that. But how do you feel about the racism in the fashion industry, and what would you suggest that could help change it? Because this was more of a video towards the racism for models in the industry. So I basically talked about that, and it's so wide ranged of things that Black models or models of color go through. So just as a whole.
So in my personal opinion, I do think that racism is alive and well around the world, but especially in the fashion industry. And the reason why is because, do you want me to go into modeling, or do you want me to just stick to the fashion industry aspect of it?
It could be fashion industry. You can switch out. It doesn't matter. Just what your personal thoughts are.
Okay. Um. So keep in mind what the fashion standard is. Fashion standard is the European standard of beauty. So with that being said, we're looking at thin, slender, tall, Caucasian women.
Yep.
Right? African Americans and people of other races are, in my opinion, mainly put in the show just to reach the status quo, just to say they are inclusive, and just to say they have that token Black model in their show. That's why most runway shows, well, a lot of runway shows, I'm not gonna say most, a lot of runway shows you'll see 1 to maybe 5 African American models, and then another 20, 30 Caucasians. Um, and then on top of that, Black people don't really fit that European standard because we have fuller lips, we have bigger hips and bigger noses, bigger breasts, all that type of stuff. So it was kind of created to go against those features that Black people are known for, and people of color. Um, and that's another reason why it's so hard for people of color to get into the fashion industry, because they want thick, slim, and slender. And that's why when I do my shoots, I try to work with, plus size models and short models, tall models, thick models, slim models, straight models, gay models, males, women, transgender. It doesn't really matter. I try to work with as many different types of people as I can, because slim, slender women aren't the only uh, uh, standard of beauty when it comes to fashion, in my opinion. And that, so I guess it kind of tags along with fashion and modeling too.
Yeah, because I mean, like, we deal with that, and then too, with us getting makeup and hair done, and people not knowing how to deal with our hair, people not knowing how to color match for our foundation. We have and it's not just, it's because it's white makeup and hair stylists that obviously don't know what they're doing. No, little would you behold. There are Black makeup artists and hairstylists who don't know how to do Black hair and Black skin makeup.
But you have to keep in mind, when they go to certain beauty schools, what are they teaching them? They teach them that Black is only 3 or 4 shades.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it stems so much deeper, like even with the problem. But I just want people to understand that just because you see an African American or a person of color on the set, do not feel like they know what they're doing right off the
Now
bat.
check this out, because this is something that may kind of make you think a little bit. You see, most Black people will go to a school such as Paul Mitchell, right? A Black hairstylist will go to a school such as Paul Mitchell to learn how to do Caucasian hair. Nine
Mm,
times out of 10, they probably already learned how to do black hair before they even start to get into beauty. Not saying all, but quite a few,
mm-hmm.
especially in Baltimore. They'll start at Merville, getting a cosmetology degree, and they may go to
Oh
Paul
yeah,
Mitchell to
Baltimore's dope.
learn. Yeah, but I'm just using as an example. But then they'll go to Paul Mitchell, learn how to do the Caucasian side of hair, and
Mm,
now they're well versed.
mm-hmm.
Caucasian hairstylists will go to Paul Mitchell to learn how to do Caucasian hair, but
And
won't
that's it.
go anywhere else to learn black hair.
And
Like
that's
it's
it.
more than just coloring and lightening your hair and all type of stuff. You have to learn how to do cornrows and
Mm-hmm.
sewing weaves and gluing weaves if you want to call yourself a well-rounded hairstyle. You have to know all
Mm-hmm.
textures of hair. So like black people have to educate themselves more and put in more work to reach out to a bigger demographic and be marketable where a Caucasian hairstylist or makeup artist may only work with Caucasian clients or Caucasian companies,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be doing just fine because they have the clientele. We don't have the clientele because we're going to learn how to do it ourselves. Number one,
That is true.
we'll pay our homegirls to do it. So we got to work twice as hard to get in those doors that
Mm-hmm.
our Caucasian counterparts may have. I don't want to say counterparts. Uh, Caucasian individuals may have. Easier
Easier.
time getting into. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But I just wanted to put that out there because I know there was a moment where I, as a model, went to do a
You
show.
model. I'm sorry, it's the hot toddy.
Listen, Trick.
It's the hot toddy. I promise you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Of all the things I've done on your sets, please. Uh, yeah, he about tired of using me, y'all, because bruh. Um, but I just wanted, people to understand because I was one of those models who was newer, who got my little moment doing a fashion show. And there's so many shows that you come to know different types of glam teams.
Hmm.
And when I got to sit down in someone's chair with my natural hair, and I ain't know what to do with the natural tresses. And it was
Hmm.
like, oh, and these was black people. And I was just like,
Hmm.
I'm good.
And it
I'm
creates
Gucci.
unwanted attention because now that everybody's sitting around waiting for a reaction from you to figure out how you're going to respond to that, and even if they're not waiting for a response, they're still looking like, okay, so what's going on?
So
Okay,
what they
so
want
what's
me
about
to
to
do?
happen next? Yeah, now you're a spectacle of attention that you didn't even bring to yourself.
Yes. It
All
even
of a sudden, you're
happened
ignorant to
in the
somebody
acting
else.
scene when I was on a big production set, and bruh. I
Right.
was like, fam, I had to put a wig on. Thankfully, I had a wig, but I had to put a wig on. And it was just like,
Mhm.
my guys, like, come
You
on.
should know this if you want to call yourself a hairstylist. Just because you planned your cousin's baby shower doesn't make you an event planner. So just because you styled your cousin for prom doesn't make you a designer or a stylist. You have to put in that work to get that reputation, that credibility. You can't just
And then
do it
and
just
then
because.
too, if you work for a specific industry that's very massive, so you'll have different kinds of people with different kinds of textured hair, different kinds of faces, skin texture, all
Mhm.
that, you would do best educating yourself on all those different kinds of things. Because even if you're going to do an entertainment and you're going to be working on sets,
Mhm.
specifically fashion runway sets, photo shoot sets, film sets, you have
Mhm.
to be versed. You just can't. If you want to just do one specific kind and that's it, you open up your
You
own
better you
store
better you better
and you just have only
you
those
better
people you
dominate it if
can.
you're gonna put yourself in that one kind of category like
Yes.
that. Like you really gotta go hard because
Like if
nobody's gonna
that's your
look.
niche and you want to stay in that, open up
You
your
will make it
own
work for you.
spot, do your own job, but don't get into a big umbrella kind of industry where you have to know various kinds because it's come with the job,
Right.
especially if you're gonna get that paycheck. So that was just my biggest thing because that right there just took me for a loop many times, and
Mhm.
I still be surprised, but not really surprised nowadays. So
Right.
so did you see Naomi Campbell's new shoot in New York City subway?
No, but I can look it up while we're on some
Go
talk.
on Google or Instagram and let me see if I could just send you a little snippet because I bookmarked them off of my phone. And you know me because I am a new model.
Ah, I see it. What's
I
it? What's
am a new
it?
model. So for me, I was
You talking about with the
like, oh.
green dress?
She was laying down with the green one.
Well, I have one of her standing up again on like the platform, one of her sitting like the subway card,
Uh-huh.
and she has like I don't know what kind of bag that is. I can't read. Valentino bag, I think.
I don't think that's Valentino. I don't think that's Valentino. Let me
Well,
what's
just send me
the
the picture, but
it's Mason Yeah, it is Valentino. It is Valentino.
okay,
That
yeah,
was
so it's the
somebody
same
else,
one.
but it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, it's dope, and it just shows how simple photography and creative directing can be. As long as you have
So
statement
simplistic.
pieces, you can make it work. Right.
And me as a nude model, I live for naked. That's my happy place, y'all. When
Right.
I'm naked, I'm ecstatic. But I don't just get naked for anybody. It gotta be specific reasons why I'm naked. And I gotta be submitting for a whole publication or
And on
a
top of that, you
really
shouldn't get
creative
naked
photo
for just
shoot.
you should get naked for just anybody. Some photographers, every
That
photographer isn't a good photographer. Some
yeah,
photographers have malicious intents and they're creeps and perverts. So you
yeah.
kind of got to school yourself on who you're going to be working with. Don't feel like just because you're a new model, you have to work with everybody
Script.
who comes your way and that you have to, yeah, like I've seen a shoot where like somebody just had like a box of Cheerios in front of their private area and they were naked. I'm like,
I
what
would
is that?
never do
Like,
a
I
shoot
don't,
like that because that don't even
but somebody did. But maybe they didn't know. So that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Don't put yourself in that predicament to get trash work. You can
Don't
get
shoot
good
with a
work.
guy with a
Even if you have to
camera, you
pay.
guys.
Yeah. Even if you, and that's why you can't be scared to pay for quality work. Like
Mhm.
you have, some photographers. I mean, some models who try to work with everybody who comes their way. That's
Oh
fine if that's what
no.
you want to do. Yeah, but those people who want quality, those are people who actually book me for shoots. Say, hey, Sean, I'm trying to do
Mhm.
a portfolio shoot. I have this concept in mind. Can you help me develop it? All right, cool, no problem. And we're going to get some good work out of it. But
That is so
not
true.
everybody's going to give you that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that the work that you're going to be presenting is quality work. A reason that I don't work with a lot of models because I'll go through their pages and look at their work, and to me, in my expectation of quality is it doesn't exceed that or even come close to it. So why would I be able to expect you to come on my set? If I
Mhm.
reach out to you, that's one thing, but you're coming to me as a model, but
Mhm.
you're
Yeah,
not giving that.
that's one big thing. Like, don't be afraid, models, to filter the people that contacts you. Like, really interview, look at their stuff. And whenever I started modeling, I always looked at the person's work to
Right.
reflect whatever they asked me to do. So if they asked me to do a beauty shoot and I did not see beauty work, I would ask them, "Can you send me your beauty work?" Because there's sometimes when some photographers just have their pages strictly
Mhm,
for some other like category, and that's
mhm.
fine. So just ask them, kind of like, "Hey, can you shoot me some of your shots of beauty work so I can see them?" And this is
Right.
if they reach out to you or vice versa. And just filter through, make sure it's all safe and good. Even ask, like, go into some of the like Facebook fashion groups and ask on there just a blatant question like, "Hey,
Mhm.
has anybody worked with this person?" Because trust and believe you me, there's people that's worked with that person, and they'll let you know if they shiesty or if they worth it
Right.
straight off bat. So don't feel afraid or have to keep silent and feel like you have to do it or feel uncomfortable for any kind of set or situation. Keep
Right.
yourself safe first before working.
And let me say this too, because this is a piece of advice for models. Remember that for models, your reputation is really all that you have. Without your reputation, you're not going to get booked. You're not going to get referrals. You're not going to get gigs. You're going to get more no's than yeses. I carry myself like that as a business owner, and I try to make sure that every relationship that I make with my clients are positive ones. Have I had negative ones in the past? Absolutely, everybody has. So I had people I would never work with again, and people who probably never want to work with me again. Absolutely, and I feel like everybody has. But as much as I can do to make sure and maintain a positive relationship and a good reputation, I'll do that. I've given out refunds when I should have given out refunds.
Mhm.
I went against my company policy to try to help somebody else out, and everybody doesn't appreciate it. But you know, as a model, like photographers, you're gonna get booked. Makeup artists, you're gonna get booked. Hairstylists, you're gonna get booked. Models, they can find somebody to do it for you. So you really gotta make sure that your reputation is A1 because photographers talk, designers talk, makeup artists talk.
Everybody talks.
We talk.
Yes,
And,
we
and
do.
one thing I can say about myself is not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I have developed a level of respect in the fashion community. I'm sorry, in Baltimore. So a lot of people reach out to me and say, "Hey, Sean, have you worked with so and so before?" Yeah, but they usually come to shoot like an hour late. Not
We
lying, not trying to
we
stop
have a
anybody's
list
bag,
of
but
those,
yeah, but
but
you have to, or
yeah.
no call, no show, things like that. But you have to let people know because I'm not going to waste one of my colleagues' time over fur.
Hmm.
A model to somebody when they don't do good work or they don't do what they're supposed to do as a model. So your reputation is going to take you so far.
Yes, I've even had somebody cuss me out before. It was a photographer in New York that did not get to work with because it was a little weird. You know how the energy just don't read right, and the energy
Right.
just did not read right, and then he went bipolar off the Richter scale. And bitch, yes, I thank God he did it before I actually showed up and actually went on set with him, because bitch, yeah. So, like I said, be mindful and be safe, you guys. Like, watch yourself. You know what I'm saying? Keep your positivity and your sanity at
Right.
peace. Okay. So, what's your thoughts about the retail industry moving forward through Corona? Basically, do you think they should just stick to basically doing online distributions or open back up? I know like some stores like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods,
Mhm.
they don't really do online ordering. So this is their first time
Right.
really testing it out, and they ended up
And
going
it's
great.
going to be hard for them too because they're not used to like having like items and kind of just selling what they
Hmm.
have, but now they actually have to take inventory. So a lot of companies like that and like thrift stores and places like that, they're probably going to be the only ones that's really going to open back up. I feel like a lot of businesses are going to start going virtual because you got to look at Jeff Bezos to Amazon. He made $15 billion in one day. So
Already was
yeah,
rich. Shit.
right. So 15 billion in one day.
This is his year. This is
But
basically what that means.
because everybody was ordering online and Amazon was already the number one online retailer and everybody was just ordering stuff on Amazon. Quick shipping, free shipping via Amazon Prime, $11 a month, and that includes movies, so on and so forth. So I feel like a lot of brands are going to start implementing that. They may have to, I think that biggest issue is going to try to figure out how to do fitting and people trying on their clothes. So they may have to send out prototypes or some type of measurement device so that people can know, what their size is, what the appropriate size is to get without having to do all those purchases and returns.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, but the thing is, when it comes to fashion, people want to see it, they want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to try it on. So maybe, retailers such as uh like movie theaters and places like that, like they may just start going digital. Like Lowe's may be in trouble. AMC may be in trouble because even during the corona when it first started, some of those people were like releasing their movies to Xfinity. So it was like, some companies aren't going to make it through this, but I think fashion, it's something tangible about fashion. I think is going to kind of keep it.
Glad you said that,
Yeah.
because the next question is how you feel about these virtual fashion shows. Because since I've been seeing the videos of the new, what, I forgot who's about to start it. Is she about to
Mhm.
launch? I'm low key. It was just mesmerizing to see, but at the same time, I was just like, bruh, uh, for the future.
So again, certain companies are going to survive, certain ones aren't. I think Mercedes Benz was. I don't even think it's Mercedes Benz anymore. Is it Cadillac Fashion Week now? New York Fashion Week, because of the notoriety of that's kind of associated with it. They're going to stand. They're going to be there. But I actually started watching virtual fashion shows years ago, back when I was in college, and it was a lot of top designers doing it back. Well, a few top designers doing it back then, and it was
Without the
like
bodies?
dope, huh?
Without the bodies? It's just the clothes being just elegant
No, it
looking.
no, it was like almost like the models were walking in a white background, but it didn't look like they were really going anywhere. And then it was like all these different like transitions and
Oh, see, that's not what I saw. What I saw is like
mhm,
literally, and I see this being the
like a
new
runway show.
no. So it's a runway show, but it's completely black. like background, but all you see is the clothes walking without a body in it. So it's kind of like virtual reality, kind of like what we do with animation, or when we're trying to put somebody like somewhere when you have like
Yeah,
the little body arm suit thing and you're like moving and all that stuff. It's kind of like that, but what this designer is doing is basically about to change the wave for the future, because
yeah.
literally
So
that's
that's trash.
Xing out models completely and just looking at just the clothes itself. So it's shaped like an actual body, moving, all that, but no model body is in the clothes.
That's trash. If that's the case, I can go to your website to see your clothes.
So that's all I was
I want
saying.
to
Like,
runway
what's
shows
your
are meant to
feelings?
sell, but check me out. Runway shows are meant to sell fashion. Runway shows are for people to visually see how the clothes fall, how the clothes,
Mhm,
feel. So you wanna see all that stuff so you can say, like, is it stretchy for women who got bigger hips or bigger butts? Like
mhm.
that's what fashion shows are for. When you have just Black and Casper walking down the runway,
That's
number
basically
one,
what
it
it was.
lacks creativity. It lacks creativity. I've seen virtual runway shows. I've seen designers set up actual runway platforms with steps and all that type of stuff, and it wasn't
Mhm.
nobody in the audience. They just filmed it and they just had the models walking, however sporadically, and
That's
it was
what I
technically
thought
significant.
the
Yeah,
the runway
but
shows were
but just
going to be geared towards now, but
but just
hers
Black.
was like, I was like,
Nah,
wait, is this where we're now trying to? Now, what she did was something that was so futuristic. That's why I said I see this being the wave of the future. Like, I mean, far into the future, like when we have flying vehicles, future,
mhm.
because that's just what it was giving me. It'd probably be
Well,
way
at the end of
different
the
back
day,
then. I mean, when that time comes, but
check this out.
it just wasn't for
When
now.
when New York when Fashion Week happens, the shows go on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
A couple days later. Now the only difference is that they're going to be being displayed as they're happening. That's literally the only difference. What they're probably going to do is they're probably going to exclusively send the link to certain individuals to get the first see of the
Hmm.
collection, and then eventually that's going to leak to the public and end up on YouTube. So it's not like we don't have virtual fashion shows now. It's just that people are now making that the sole way of promoting their line.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt a couple other businesses too because fashion shows have a lot of money that goes into it. And if
Yeah.
you go virtual, those fashion show producers and fashion show directors might not be looking too good.
Yeah.
Those wardrobe stylists, backstage help.
So many other businesses involved in this. Like,
Mhm.
what's gonna happen to the little mans? That's basically the
Yeah, and
situation.
people don't think of those people when they think about, well, it's saving money. I mean, yeah, it's going to save you money, but people talking about support Black businesses, but you're only supporting your Black business. So
Is you really support Black businesses or not? That's basically it.
you can say support my Black business and let that be that, but own what you say.
Okay, that's dead on that. So, everybody has. Oh, that's funny because now I'm talking about it. So, everybody has been pushing for promoting of Black businesses and Black dollars. Who are some of the designers you know that we should pay attention to and support in the industry?
Designers, Brandon Warren is always going to be a favorite.
Yes, I love him.
Um, Jonathan Rashawn, um, Karan Guy, I'm trying to think of some other dope people, Original Crackage, Lovelace, Cool Green, um, GMD. Like it's a lot of Black designers who I feel like are really, even if it's something as simple as a t-shirt collection. I'm My degree is in fashion merchandising, so when it comes to quality control, like that's big for me. But when I can see the
Mhm.
quality of your work that you're producing, I'm going to promote you. I'm going to send people your way. You may not even know that I'm sending people your way, but I consistently send business to Black designers. Bishme, one person that we should have
Yes,
looked out for that we didn't look out for probably as much as we should have is Ivan because he just passed away. Ivan Kelly.
and
Um,
rest in peace, Ivan.
Absolutely. And I've worked with him on many, 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 many occasions, different shoots. And he's just
Same,
a genuine soul. And yeah, I mean, he got recognition, but he deserved much
much
more
more.
than what he got. Yeah.
And he reminds me of Derek. not Derek that's messaging us, but designer Derek, who also had passed away.
Right.
He was at one of the fashion shows that we had thrown together before, and that also was somebody that got swept underneath the rug. Was still big, but he was literally about to literally branch and blow up. Like he was rebranding at that time, and it was so sad because as well I've been rebranded at the same time,
He did just rebrand, yeah.
and now we don't get the opportunity to see how far it could have grown. So
Right.
um it's very important to support those that are coming out with things that are independently
Hmm.
black owned, who are small businesses, because we do want to go ahead and give them their opportunities and their flowers now before they do pass away. We don't know when any of us
Yeah, like,
will go ahead and not see the the rest of this earth, so you want to go ahead and support as much as possible.
and this is my thing, and this is something that I everybody who been watching this video, if anybody who's gonna be looking at it later on, um, one thing that I really strive for Black people and people of color to do is, even if you can just support one Black business a week, that's 4 Black businesses a month. You're probably going to eat out more times than once a week. Let one of those times that you eat out be a Black business.
Yep.
You know, get Black jewelry instead of going to the beauty supply to get a little costume jewelry for a shoot or something like that.
Best believe you
Hit
me,
up
them black
designers.
jewelry designers, they gonna get that real jewelry.
Yeah, like, you
Don't
don't have to
sleep
go to
on
Target. You don't got to go to Target and the body shop and Bath and Body Works to get lotion for Black people and Black skin. You can like, and it doesn't have to be often like that. You're consciously trying to, okay, every single last thing I do, it has to be Black owned, Black owned.
them.
You don't got to stress yourself out like that. You're gonna give yourself an anxiety attack. One
So
time a week is enough starting out.
here's something that is so mind blowing. I think I told you to look at this, but I don't think you was able to check it out yet. Killer Mike has this show special on Netflix, and the first episode was solely based on him basically just shopping and utilizing all black, right? Black owned everything.
Hmm.
The reality check that you got from that was so surreal, because you ended up noticing that black people don't own a lot, or black people don't own in many different avenues a
Hmm.
lot. I'm talking about as far as farmers, auto industry. It was just so crazy to see how much black owned stuff we really didn't have in certain categories, and for him to have to need to use black owned for an entire weekend or all day or whatever,
Mm.
it was just mind blowing. Like he had a hard time needing to go ahead and go black owned, just to eat, right? And his
Excuse me, no
homeboy is a
Florida.
white boy, and he was just like, "Hey, let's go to this black owned restaurant. Great food, soul food,
You
all
said, what is
that."
this again?
It's Killer Mike's little Netflix
I saw it.
series.
I
You
saw
saw
it,
it?
Killer Mike. Yeah,
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 and then he had to like basically chalk up the deuces at the
yeah. They went to
restaurant
the
because it was just
barbecue
like,
spot and all that. Yeah,
because the meat wasn't black owned. And it was like, wait, what? Because his
and they found
other
the guy that
homeboy was
actually
like, look,
cooked
if
it.
you're gonna go black owned, you gotta go all out. Like,
I
and it was
remember
an
that.
eye opener. So it's
Even
crazy.
deodorants and stuff that you think is not black, that you think is Black owned, isn't Black owned.
And that's the biggest thing that we're dealing with now. Does black owned also count for black um like management? You know what I'm saying? So if something's managed by black people and like a whole board or whatever, but it's not black owned, is that still count as black owned? Because there was a hair company that had came on, like kept on stage's little YouTube channel, and they're not black owned, but they
They're expensive.
started from like I think like a Indian person or something like that. But he has like
Mhm.
certain kind of branches where he kind of branched it out. So then there be like owners of color, but the hair company is women black owned, just not owned by like the whole company itself, but that specific management part is run by all women for this hair care company, and it's so
So
many black people in there. So they was like, does it still count? The big thing that now is,
it doesn't.
does
It
that
doesn't.
still
It
count as
doesn't.
black owned?
It doesn't. It doesn't. And this is why. Technically speaking, it's not Black owned because it's not owned by a Black person.
Yes.
However, if you have a parent company and a segment of that parent company
Hmm.
that is owned by a Black individual, that company is Black owned. Another thing is where you have silent partners, where you may
Mm-hmm.
have a black face and a Caucasian investor on the back end that's making money off of it. That business is not black owned. It has a black owner, or the face of the business may be black, but it's not black owned because you have somebody, of another race
That's like
kind of
Carol's
partnering up
daughter.
with you. Yeah. Or Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima targets towards black people,
Yeah.
but it's not black owned.
Was it Ben's? Uncle Ben?
I mean, even Derek, hold on, because Derek said, but if you have majority shares, that's fine. But technically,
But it's still not.
it's not black owned.
Like,
It
you
has
gotta
black
understand, shares
ownership
are
in it.
divided among a
Yeah,
plethora of
it has
people.
partial black
So,
ownership, but it's not a black owned
yeah,
business.
that
The
still
creator
doesn't.
of that business needs to be black. I'm not the creator. The owner of that business needs to be black.
Co-owner,
To be black owned.
yes,
Yeah.
has to be black.
So even if
So
it's like
yeah,
a committee of black individuals producing
yeah.
it can still be considered black owned. But if you have a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant that sells soul food, but the main investor is white, and both of y'all put it together, but because it's being promoted towards black people, would put more attention on you. You're in the spotlight. It's not black owned.
What's next for M3?
Work with a client on a new project who wants to be partnered up to start a local award ceremony. I'll put it like that. Highlighting people in fashion. Those are the only details I'm going to get, and I think that's going to be really, 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 really big. So I'm actually really excited to be a part of it. I actually have been shooting out the ass now. I have 9 photo shoots within the next 5 days so far, like personal shoots, and then I have 11 bookings within the next 5 days. So like the schedule, and then I'm still doing my 9 to 5. So it kind of puts in perspective, like how stuff is picking up.
So just please make sure, and I will be having more industry talks with more of my fashion industry friends. Like I said, today was the first one. This is the first episode of Industry Talks, hashtag Industry Talks. So you guys got to hear and see and connect with the creative director and photographer, Morant Sean. As I said again, make sure you go ahead and you follow our Instagram. Those links are in the comments.
Follow me, I follow back. If you want to shoot, you don't know what to do, you know what concept is, kind of come up with. You got a birthday coming up, your father's birthday coming up, whomever. Go to my website, go to my Instagram, go to my Facebook, hit me up, and we can make some stuff happen.
So thanks, you guys, and we will talk to y'all. I don't know, I guess later, next time, something like that, whatever. So, bye.